In the United States, the death penalty is applied in 32 states. It is a punishment for high treason, espionage, and for hijacking an aircraft resulting in death. However, the most common crime punishable by death is murder. Throughout history, people have been executed by hanging, firing squad, and even the gas chamber. But today, lethal injection is used in all 32 US states because it is considered the most humane way to take the life of a criminal. And now we will learn how the lethal injection works. Since 1976 year, 1472 death sentences have been carried out in America. From these, 3 people were shot, 3 hanged, 11 ended up in a gas chamber, 158 sat in the electric chair, and 1297 received a lethal injection. An injection is an introduction into the body of a person of one or more drugs from which a person instantly dies. It was invented in the United States, and now the injection is the main type of death penalty in China, Thailand, Guatemala, the Maldives, and Vietnam. Death is declared when the heart stops offender. In most cases, this takes 7 minutes, but if complications arise, the time is increased to 20 minutes. What exactly is introduced into the body because of which the heart stops? According to the Washington-based Death Penalty Information Center, lethal injection in most states consists of 3 separate intravenous drips. The first dropper is the anesthetic thiopentyl sodium, a strong barbiturate that renders the person unconscious and does not feel pain. The drug affects neurotransmitters, which reduces brain activity. The receptors in the brain are blocked and the person stops responding to anything. This usually takes 30 seconds. The anesthetic must act during the entire process, so the person does not feel when they are given other injections. Then the dropper is flushed with saline and a second injection is given, pancuronium bromide. It is a neuromuscular blocker that cuts off communication between the nervous system and muscles. And since a person ceases to control his muscles, paralysis sets in. The diaphragm, the muscle that pushes air into the lungs, stops contracting, causing the person to stop breathing. The drip is then cleaned again with saline and a third injection is given, this time with potassium chloride. It disrupts the electrical signals in the heart, due to whereupon it stops and death ensues. According to a 2002 study in the Journal of Forensic Medicine, the average time from first injection to cardiac arrest is 8.4 minutes. But what about the rare cases where an execution takes longer than planned? Although lethal injection is considered to be the most painless and humane way to take a life, there have been cases where problems have arisen, and several such cases have long remained atop newspaper headlines. In 1985, Charles Walker was convicted of 2 murders and armed robbery. He was put on death row at the Menora Correctional Center in Illinois. On September 12, 1990, last meal was brought to him, fried wild rabbit, biscuits, and blueberry pie with whipped cream. Immediately after dinner, the execution was scheduled, but due to human error and equipment malfunction, the execution was delayed. According to Gary Sutherfield, an officer who assisted with the execution of the sentence, the tube connecting through dropper and needle was twisted. Because of this, the drug could not enter the body. In addition, the needle was directed to the fingers of the convict and not to his heart. Because of all this, the execution took much longer than it should have, and Walker experienced incredible pain before his death. The second case was with Joseph Cannon, a prisoner in a Texas prison, whose death was scheduled for 23 April 1998. Cannon was charged with attempted rape and murder. In 1977, when he was only 17 years old, he spent most of his life on death row and awaiting the death penalty. He spoke his last words and the execution of the sentence began. But the vein in Cannon's arm constricted and the needle popped out of it. The people present at the execution saw that Cannon leaned back on the couch and exclaimed, "Everything went wrong way." The performers closed the convict with curtains for 15 minutes to correct the problem. Then the curtains were opened and Cannon said those words again, and the sentence was set in motion. And finally, the case that excited the media in the same year. Doyle Lee Ham was sentenced to death at the Donaldson Correctional Facility in Bessemer, Alabama. Ham has been in prison since 1987 after how the court accused him of killing a motel worker during a robbery. But Ham had terminal cancer and been on drugs for a very long time, which made his veins barely visible. The death penalty was stopped because paramedics could not find a vein, although they tried to insert the needle into the groin, ankles, and thighs for 2 hours. Dr. Mark Heath, who examined Ham, said in an interview with NBC that during the execution of the sentence, Ham hoped the doctors would be able to find the veins and it would all be over. Mr. Ham wanted to die so that he would no longer feel terrible pain. As a result, Ham survived, and it is not yet known whether he will re-execution by lethal injection. These are the most famous cases of failed painless executions, and although there are a few such cases, there is always a chance that something will go wrong. According to the Death Penalty Information Center, a non-profit organization that collects information on the death penalty, between 1890 and 2010, 7.12% of sentences through ejection passed with complications. Capital punishment has always caused a lot of controversy, and no matter what the state recognizes as the most humane method of execution, unforeseen difficulties can always arise. As we learned during the execution through death injection, the person is first injected into the unconscious state, after which it is called to stop hearts. In most cases, this is a straightforward procedure. An injection, 3 drugs, and darkness. And here story ends. Thank you for watching and see you on the channel.